Namaste children, our lesson is matter around us pure, and last class we discussed about elements, compounds and mixtures, and this class will be discussing about types of mixtures, solution, suspension, colloid and the properties of solution, suspension and colloids. Mixtures. Mixtures are materials constituted by more than one substance mixed together in different ratios. Depending upon the nature of components that are mixed to form mixtures, mixtures have been classified into two types. They are homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. Let's discuss about homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. Homogeneous mixtures. Now here I have few grams of sugar and a glass full of water. Now when I add the sugar to water, what will happen? The sugar particles dissolve in water and we will get a clear transparent solution like this. So here if we see, the water particles and sugar particles are uniformly mixed. Every part of the solution when we take, it has the same taste, which shows that the sugar particles and water particles are thoroughly mixed. So in other words, we can tell that they have a uniform composition. And when we look at this clear transparent solution, can we distinguish between sugar particles and water particles? No, we cannot distinguish sugar particles and water particles. So we do not have any visible boundaries of separation. So what is a homogeneous mixture? Homogeneous mixtures are those mixtures that have uniform composition and there is no visible boundaries of separation between them. Other examples for homogeneous mixtures are, we have air. Air is a mixture of gases. In air, we have gases like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, inert gases, water vapor, etc. And these gases are indistinguishable from each other. Hence, air is a homogeneous mixture. Next, we have soda water. In soda water, we have water, carbon dioxide stored under high pressure and salt. So, all these dissolve in each other. Hence, soda water also has a uniform composition throughout. Hence, soda water is a homogeneous mixture. Next, we have vinegar. Vinegar is 5 to 8% solution of acetic acid in water. So, we know acids are soluble in water. So, acid particles and water particles are mixed thoroughly. So, it gives a uniform composition. Hence, vinegar is also an example for homogeneous mixture. Next, we have alloys. So, alloy is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or a metal and a non-metal. Generally, how alloys are made? The primary metals are melted, then the elements are added to it in definite proportion, then it is allowed to cool. So, examples here, we have brass and bronze. So, brass, it's a combination of copper and zinc. Copper 70%, zinc 30%. But the composition may vary because mixtures can have variable composition. And this copper and zinc are indistinguishable from each other. Hence, brass is an example for homogeneous mixture. Next, we have bronze. Bronze, it is a combination of copper and tin. Copper 90% and tin 10%. So, even in this case, it is a homogeneous mixture. We cannot distinguish copper and tin and we cannot see. So, hence bronze is also an example for a homogeneous mixture. Generally, alloys are homogeneous mixtures. Mixtures can have variable composition. Here, we can see a beaker which has 50 ml of water. To this, we add one spatula full of copper sulfate crystals. On adding copper sulfate crystals, the crystals dissolve and the water particles and copper sulfate particles get thoroughly mixed. So, we get a solution of uniform composition. So, it is a homogeneous mixture. In the second case, we have taken a beaker with 50 ml of water. To this, we add 2 spatula full of copper sulfate crystals. Even in this case, the copper sulfate crystals dissolve and we get a solution of uniform composition. Both solutions are examples for homogeneous mixtures, but only thing is that they differ in the intensity of their color. So, whether we add 1 spatula or 2 spatula or 3 spatula of copper sulfate crystals, it is a mixture. So, mixtures can have variable composition. Heterogeneous mixture. Let's try to understand this with the help of a simple activity. So, here we have a beaker filled with water. We have another beaker which has oil in it. Now, when we add this oil to water and when we stir it, what happens? The oil particles is suspended in the water. But when we leave it undisturbed for some time, oil which is less dense floats on top and water which is more dense, it is at the bottom. Now, when we have a close look at this mixture, we find that the components are not thoroughly mixed. We can distinguish oil particles and water particles separately, and there is clear visible boundaries of separation between them. So, what are heterogeneous mixtures? Heterogeneous mixtures are those mixtures that do not have uniform composition and they have visible boundaries of separation between them. Other examples for heterogeneous mixtures. A mixture of sulfur and iron powder. Here we have the mixture of sulfur and iron powder. The sulfur powder and iron powder are visible to our naked eyes and we can distinguish between them. One part if we take, it has more of iron powder and less of sulfur powder. The other part if we take, it has more of sulfur powder and less of iron powder. So, the particles are not thoroughly mixed. It is a heterogeneous mixture. Next, we have a mixture of sand and salt. Here, we can see the mixture of sand and salt. We can distinguish between sand and salt particles. Even in this case, the particles are not thoroughly mixed. One part has more of sand and less of salt. The other part has more of salt and less of sand. So, it does not have a uniform composition. So, it comes under heterogeneous mixture. Third example, a mixture of copper sulfate and potassium permanganate crystals. Here also, we can see the particles are not thoroughly mixed. We can distinguish the copper sulfate crystals and potassium permanganate crystals. Hence, this also comes under heterogeneous mixture. All these are examples for heterogeneous mixtures. Other examples are, we have soil. In soil, we have organic matter, sand, gravel, clay particles and so on. All these particles are distinguishable and the components are not thoroughly mixed. So, it is a heterogeneous mixture. Next, we have coal. In coal, we have hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen, phosphorus compounds, carbon and so on, which are of non-uniform composition. So, coal comes under heterogeneous mixture. Next, wood. We know wood is made of cellulose. It has hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, sodium, magnesium and so on, which is also of non-uniform composition. So, wood is a heterogeneous mixture. Last example, we have blood. Blood has plasma, WBCs, RBCs, platelets, which are distinguishable. Hence, it's a heterogeneous mixture. In few heterogeneous mixtures, the components are visible only under a microscope. Tyndall effect. It is a scattering of light by particles in a medium. This effect is named after the British physicist John Tyndall. So, when a ray of light is incident on a particle, it gets scattered in all directions, and this effect we call it as Tyndall effect. Solution. A solution is defined as a homogeneous mixture of two or more chemically non-reacting substances whose composition can be varied. For example, copper sulfate solution. Here we have few grams of copper sulfate crystals and we have a beaker full of water. Now, when we add this copper sulfate crystals to the water that is taken in the beaker, we find that the copper sulfate crystals completely dissolve in water and the water particles and copper sulfate particles are uniformly mixed. Hence, we get a solution of uniform composition. So, solution is a homogeneous mixture. And here the copper sulfate crystals and water particles, they are not chemically combined. That is why we can separate the components in the copper sulfate solution by physical methods like evaporation. For example, if we take copper sulfate solution in a china dish and when we heat it, what will we observe? We find the water evaporates and after some time all the water evaporates and copper sulfate crystals are left behind. Hence, this copper sulfate solution is a homogeneous mixture. And generally, solutions are homogeneous mixtures of two or more chemically non-reacting substances whose composition can be varied. Next, the particles of a solution are smaller than 1 nanometer, that is 10 to the power of -9 meter. So, the particles are very small that they are not visible to our naked eyes. They do not scatter a beam of light passing through the solution. Suppose if we have taken copper sulfate solution in a beaker and we are directing a beam of light from a light source, say torchlight. So, do you observe any path of light through this solution? No, because the particles in the solution are very small. So, they do not scatter light. So, Tyndall effect is not observed in the solution. The solute particles cannot be separated from mixture by the process of filtration. For example, say we have to fix a funnel to the stand, then a filter paper cone is kept inside this funnel, then we keep a beaker underneath. Now, the copper sulfate solution, we pour it into the funnel. We will observe that the entire copper sulfate solution passes through the funnel, through the filter paper, and then it gets collected here as a filtrate. So, we can observe a clear solution and there will not be any residue left in the filter paper. So, the particles in the solution are very small that they pass through the filter paper and we do not get any residue in the filter paper. Next, the solution is stable. So, this copper sulfate solution, when you keep it for say for some more time, for few hours or even for few days, we will not find any solute particles settling at the bottom, which means that the solution is stable. Suspension. A suspension is a heterogeneous mixture in which the solute particles do not dissolve but remain suspended throughout the bulk of the medium. Example, a mixture of chalk powder and water. So, here we have chalk powder and a beaker half filled with water. Now, when we add this chalk powder to this water, what happens? We find the chalk powder particles being suspended in the water because chalk powder is insoluble in water, and we also find the particles of the chalk powder is not uniformly mixed. So, it is an example for heterogeneous mixture. So, suspension is a heterogeneous mixture in which the solute particles do not dissolve but remain suspended throughout the bulk of the medium. The particles of suspension can be seen by naked eye because the size of the particle is more than 100 nanometer. That is why the chalk powder particles are visible to our naked eyes. The particles of a suspension scatter a beam of light through it, that is, it shows Tyndall effect. Suppose if we take the mixture of chalk powder and water in the beaker and we direct a beam of light through a light source, say for example torchlight. So here if we observe, the path of beam of light is visible because the particles in suspension are big enough to scatter the light. That is why the beam of light, the path of beam of light is visible in the suspension. The particles of suspension can be separated by filtration. So here we have taken a test tube and over the test tube a funnel is placed and then a filter paper cone is placed inside the funnel. Now a mixture of chalk powder and water is poured into this filter paper. On pouring, we will observe that the solution passes through this filter paper and gets collected in the test tube here, and the chalk powder is left as a residue in the filter paper. So the solution that is collected in this test tube, we call it as filtrate. So in this way, the particles of suspension can be separated by filtration. Next, suspension is unstable. Now, when we leave the mixture of chalk powder and water undisturbed for some time, we find that the chalk powder particles, which is heavy, settles down at the bottom, and hence we call that suspension is unstable. After the settling down of the chalk powder particles at the bottom, this suspension will not show Tyndall effect. Colloids. A colloid is a heterogeneous mixture. Example, milk. So in milk we have vitamin D, fat, protein, calcium and so on. And when we leave the milk undisturbed for some time, we find the fat, the cream part floating on top. So a colloid is a heterogeneous mixture because the components are not thoroughly mixed. The size of colloidal particles lie in the range of 1 to 100 nanometer. So the particles in the colloid, they are not visible to our naked eyes, but they are visible under a powerful microscope. The solute particles in colloid cannot be separated from the mixture by filtration, but can be separated by centrifugation. So here we have taken a test tube and a funnel fitted with a filter paper cone is placed over the test tube, and a glass of diluted milk, suppose when we add into this filter paper, what do we observe? The entire milk passes through this filter paper and gets collected in this test tube, and we will not find any residue left in the filter paper because the solute particles are too small. So they cannot be separated by the filtration process. So they pass through this filter paper. Then how can we separate the components in the milk? It is possible by centrifugation method. So the centrifugation process is carried in a centrifuge machine. So in a test tube, some amount of milk is taken and that is closed with a lid, and the test tube, that sample, is placed inside the centrifuge machine. Then it is made to rotate at a very high speed. When the liquid mixture is made to rotate at a very high speed, we find that the less dense cream float on top and the remaining components of the milk settle at the bottom. So this is how the components in the colloid can be separated by centrifugation process. Particles of a colloidal solution are big enough to scatter light. That is, Tyndall effect is observed. So for example, a glass of milk we have taken and a beam of light is directed from the torch. So when the light passes through the milk, its path of beam of light will be visible because the particles in the colloid are big enough to scatter the light. That is why Tyndall effect is observed in the colloid. The Tyndall effect can also be observed in a dark room as well as in a forest. So, when sunlight enters into a dark room through a window, we find its beam of light. So, why we observe this Tyndall effect? Because in the atmosphere, lot of dust particles are suspended. So, the sunlight gets scattered by these dust particles that is present in the atmosphere, and that is how we are able to observe the Tyndall effect in the dark room. Same way, when sunlight passes through the canopy of a forest, we observe Tyndall effect. What is canopy? The roof formed by the branches of tall trees over other small plants, we call it as canopy. So, in the atmosphere, lot of water droplets are suspended. So, the sunlight gets scattered by the water droplets suspended in the atmosphere, and that is why the path of beam of light is visible in the forest. Now, when we observe the glass of milk, if it is left for some time or even for some days, we do not find any solute particles settling at the bottom, which means that the colloids are stable. Colloidal particles do not settle when left undisturbed. So, colloids are stable. To summarize, homogeneous mixtures have uniform composition and does not have visible boundaries of separation. Heterogeneous mixtures have non-uniform composition and visible boundaries of separation. Solution is a homogeneous mixture, whereas suspension and colloid are heterogeneous mixtures. Solutions do not show Tyndall effect, whereas suspension and colloid show Tyndall effect. Particles of suspension can be separated by filtration, whereas particles of solution and colloid cannot be separated by filtration. Solutions and colloids are stable, whereas suspension is unstable.